In this video, we're going to create a series of abstract designs. Start by creating new document. Go to File, choose option New. For size, choose Pixels. Choose size 400 by 400 pixels. Set resolution to 72 pixels per inch. And make sure that your colors are RGB. For next step, in your toolbar, find Gradient tool. Make sure that your colors set to black and white. If you have any other colors, press button D to reset your colors to black and white. Then find Gradient Editor window located on Control bar. Make sure that your colors set to black and white. If you see any other colors different from black and white, click on Gradient Editor window and set your colors to black and white. For next step, change your mode to difference. Then choose one of the gradients and start dragging your gradient tool from side to side on your screen. You can switch on different type of gradient and mix 2 or 3 of them together. Once you're satisfied with result, go to option Filter, Distort, Polar Coordinates. Choose Rectangular to Polar and press OK. We're going to add a couple of modifications to this design. First, let's go to option Filter, Stylize, Wind. Keep default settings and simply press OK. Now I will color this design. I will go to option Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation. I will press Colorize and I will increase saturation, and then I will modify the hue looking for the right color. Now I recommend to save your design. To do that, go to option File, Save As. For the type, choose JPEG. Then name your design. Choose maximum quality for the quality. And I'm going to create another design. I will create another new document with the same settings. And again, I'm going to choose Gradient tool, but this time I'm going to modify my gradient by clicking on Gradient Editor window. And I'm going to click several times inside of a gradient and color. Then I'm going to click individually on every single slider and change color to different shade. I will click OK. And again, I will choose one of the gradient types and start dragging gradient from side to side. And I always like to combine several types of gradients. That gives the most interesting effect. And after I'm done, I will go to Filter, Distort, Polar Coordinates. But this time, instead of rectangular to polar, even through effect very interesting, I'm going to undo that. I will choose Distort, Polar Coordinates, Polar to rectangular. And you can see effect completely different. And again, I'm going to color it by choosing Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation, clicking on Colorize, and adjusting hue and saturation. And I'm going to save this design as well. I will choose JPEG for resolution and call it Design 2. And again, I'm going to create new document. Choose Gradient tool. I will click on Gradient Editor window, and this time, instead of creating my own gradient, I will choose one of the default settings. Make sure that your mode remains to be difference. And try to create colorful gradient. This time, I'm going to choose Filter, Distort, Wave. And I'm going to accept default settings. So I created 3 different designs using the same gradient tool. Now we're going to take it to the next step. And I'm going to start with colorful design. I'm going to apply one more filter to it before I proceed. I will go to Filter, Distort, and I will choose option Twirl. You can slide the angle any direction you like. It doesn't really matter. It's your own preference. I'm going to set my to positive 295. And again, I recommend to save design like it is, because every single time you apply new effect, it's going to change. So if you want to save it right now. And I will save it as design 4. And for the next step, I'm going to add element of symmetry, which create really interesting and sometimes unpredictable effects. To do that, you need to make sure that you have layers window open. If you don't have your layers window open, go to Window and find Panel Layers. You will have one active layer, which will called background. You will need to duplicate it. And easiest way to duplicate your layer, if you will select it, click on Extension button and choose option Duplicate Layer. Say OK. Now you will have two copies of the same layer. Select the background copy and find Blending Mode option. Currently it's set to normal. Click on Extension button and find option Lighten. Visually nothing going to change. That is perfectly normal. Now go to option Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. And right away you get very interesting symmetrical effect, and your design will look almost like a fractal. And again, go to File, Save As, and choose JPEG for the type and add a name for your design. And I will apply the same formula to my previous design. I will select the second design I created, and first I'm going to apply Twirl by choosing option Filter, Distort, Twirl. I will choose angle to 425 points. However, you can choose any angle you like, depends on your design. And again, I'm going to duplicate the layer, and this time I will go for right click and choose option Duplicate Layer. That's just a different way to do it. And I will say OK. For next step, I'm going to change blend mode from normal to lighten. And I will go to option Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. And I get completely different effect in the end. And let's very quickly apply it to the last design. This time I'm not going to apply Twirl and use design like it is. First I will need to create a copy. I will right click on the background layer, choose option Duplicate Layer, change blend mode from normal to lighten, and then go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. You can see this technique is quite simple. Just be brave and experiment. I will create one more design. First, I will create new document with the same settings. Then make sure that your colors are set to black and white. If they are different, press D to reset your colors. Then I will go to Filter, Render, Clouds. Then go to Filter, Pixelate, Color Halftone. Set your radius to 4 and enter value of 90 for every single channel. Press OK. Now go to Filter, Distort, Polar Coordinates. Choose option Rectangular to Polar. Then go to Filter, Distort, Wave. Then I'm going to apply color. I will go to option Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation. I will click on Colorize, then increase saturation and choose a color by changing hue value. Now I will go to Filter, Distort, Twirl, and I will give it a slight twirl. Then I'm going to duplicate this layer by selecting background layer and clicking on option Duplicate Layer. Then I will change blend mode from normal to lighten. And finally I will go to option Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. And every single time you will try to follow this tutorial, you will get completely different result.